Hello, this is Matt Smirnoff from Gemini Softworks and JetForceGeminiApex.com, and I got a request to cover double jumping and that sort of thing. So I'm going to show you the easiest way to do that. And right now I just have pretty much, there's no events here or anything, it's just some obstacles and the player, which is pretty much everything is nearly the same as before, but there's no events yet. So right away, the easiest way to handle double jumping is to use an extension called the platform movement object. Now this is kind of, I guess, really a shortcut kind of thing. You aren't really programming a lot yourself, but it just makes things so much easier. Right off the bat, this is a lot like the default platform movement, except you have a lot more options. So I'm just going to leave these default for now. We can come back and tweak them later on. But now that we have that in there, so we'll go to the event editor. Right over here, we'll just set it up, one thing at a time here. So we'll add a new condition. We'll say something like always, and then we will go over here to the platform movement object and go set object, and our object will be the player, obviously. So now the platform movement object is set to the player, so we'll add a new condition. There's a few things you need to do, more so than if you're using the default movement. So we're going to go with objects or collision testing and test for obstacle overlap. Now this will always have to be the top event. It'll turn red if it's at the top, and that's what it's supposed to do. So in addition to this, you also need another condition, which will be active, is overlapping backdrop. So now that you have these two things, you right click over here and then you go collisions, obstacle does overlap with, or object does overlap with an obstacle. So alright, now test this out, and there you go. However, you can't move or anything, you have to set that up on your own. So that's what I'm going to do right now. So it's really simple. I mean, it's not really difficult to do. You just have to come over here to the mouse pointer and keyboard options. You go repeat while key is pressed, and we're going to go with the right arrow key, and then we can just drag this down and double click it and hit the left arrow key, so we have right and left. And when the right arrow is pressed, we'll go over here to on user input. User is holding down the right input key, and then we'll do the same for this one, except we'll go user is holding down the left input key. So right over here, we're moving left and right really slowly. This is not, an optimal thing, but we'll change that in a bit. Okay, so we'll do the next thing, which is jump. So we'll come over here, and we will go back here, and we'll go, upon pressing a key, let's say Z. You can set this to anything you want, obviously. Come over here, and then on user input, jump. So now we play it, and now you can jump. However, as it is right now, you could actually do a lot more than double jump. You can jump infinitely if you wish to, so we're going to have to set some limitations on that. Normally I don't do a double jump just because I haven't had any need for it yet, but I'll set that up right now. Okay, so I'll have to think for a bit what's the best way to set this up, and I'm probably going to use an alterable value. So I'll insert a condition. Let's say alterable value a is equal to 0. So, well, no, I'm going to say less than 2. Yeah, lower than 2. Because we want to be able to jump twice. So in addition to the jump, we'll add another condition over here under the player, or another event under the player, to add 1 to the alterable value a. So that will make it so you only can jump twice, I think. Then we'll have to add a new condition so that when you're standing on the ground, the counter will be reset to 0, so you can double jump again. So that's under platform movement object, and then object states object is standing on the ground. So with that, you can come over here and set the alterable value back to 0. Now this should work. If it doesn't, then I might have to tweak a few things, but 1, 2. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Oh, 1, 2. Oh, right, because it starts at 0. Silly me. Right now you can triple jump, which this is easily resolved. We just come over right over here, and we'll just change this to 1, and that should work fine, I think. So 1, 2, that's it. Double jump. Alright. So we'll change a few things over here now, just so it'll work a little better, or play a little better. Come back to our frame editor and just double click the platform movement object wherever you placed it. We'll, up the speed to like 220 on max X velocity. We'll say that the jump strength is like 650, and yeah, I think that'll be good. You can, play around with it. That's the best way to figure out exactly what you want. So now, it's still kind of slow, but at least we can come up here now. So on this scale, we should actually, I'm going to jump or up this up to like 300 and see how that is. Maybe change the max Y velocity to 1000. Let's see how that plays. Still a little sluggish, but it looks fine, I think. And the best way to go about using the platform movement object is to have this be, essentially have one active object be your collision box. So this, this is what you're setting the platform movement object to. And if you want to have something go on top of that, like say really simply and awfully, I'll do something, let's say like it's 64 by 64, and then this is going to be, I don't know, like a really weird looking thing with legs, and I don't like that color. I'll make them victory color. Okay, so that's kind of like a thing, kind of. I'm just going to change its hotspot over here. And I always like to set it to the bottom right over here. That's the easiest place for me. And then I'm going to set the hitbox over here. I'm also going to set the what's it called, the hotspot down here as well. And then I'm going to go into the event editor, and I'm going to go to always over here and go right click under our actual our graphic, our sprite over here, and go position, select position, and then select the active that will be for the platform movement object. So now we have our, what the player will be on top of it, and this is actually what's doing collision, because collision can get pretty awkward if you have a detailed character with other things and whatnot. It's best to keep it simple with just a box, and obviously we're going to want to make the box invisible. So now it's like this, and you can pretty much do whatever you want. And I think I'll cover animation in the next tutorial, how to animate the character properly. It's not difficult either, it just takes a few more things. But I hope this answered the question, or fulfilled the request adequately, and I'll see you next time.